What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Roster update number 8 is coming out tomorrow, and I've got a ton of names that are deserving of an upgrade. In fact, if you subscribe to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/spore, I have 104 names on the list. I'm giving you 45 of them today, including some folks who are going to make big level changes from silver to gold and gold to diamond. Now, I did try to find some that still have some nice pricing capability to where you could even jump in on Thursday night. I gotta be honest, the gold market is kind of tapped right now though. So even if I had done this 2 days ago, it was already kind of hot. People were pretty keen on these guys here. So what you might be best investing is to invest in the guys I've got going into the 77 to 79 range, hoping that either they spike gold this week and I'm a week I'm low on them, or that they just continue to perform and go gold next week in the perhaps final update. We don't know. Remember last year, we waited for a playoff update and it never came. In previous years, there's been a post-playoff update for the guys who performed really well over the course of October. Last year, they didn't do that because of all the playoff content that they put out. They figured they were showcasing those guys via their own separate cards, and frankly, I'm okay with it. The only issue I had was that we didn't have any forewarnings, so we were invested in a bunch of players expecting that final update, and it never came through. So this year, operate as though this regular season one next week will be the last one. We're going to operate like that. So we're rallying here in the final 2 weeks. But again, I've got 45 names. I'm going to start from the bottom. The reason I give you guys these commons who are either going common to bronze or even common to common but jumping up a bunch of points, Affinity Exchanges. These can be massive pickups for Affinity Exchanges. This first guy particularly, because he's a 49 right now. Usually we don't highlight a lot of guys who are in a 49 range, but John Curtis has been excellent for the Rays pitching this year. I've got him going 49 to 63, and maybe he goes all the way up to bronze, which of course would work even more so in our favor, but he's been awesome. Just looking at his work in September, he has 7 2/3 innings with a 31% strikeout rate, 6% walk rate, and 5.9 hits per 9. That's really fantastic. He has a 0 ERA as well, which, my standard caveat, ERA is not on the card, but when you're doing really well in ERA, it certainly gains the attention and maybe gives SDS the impetus to take a closer look. So John Curtis here, you can get him for single digits. I mean, even if you flip this card, right? I've got 27 of them that are sellable. I could flip a bunch of these for, even if it's not 185, even if I don't one stub it, say I go down to like 160. I bought them all under 10. I can tell you that right now. So even just flipping, if you really want to make stubs. But the reason that I'm investing here is for the Team Affinity. Get a bunch of them at single digits. Jump in on the Team Affinity exchange there. Another guy, same sort of idea. Now, he's really going to rock it up because of what he did yesterday. Yesterday being Wednesday, the 16th, Kyle Higashioka. 3-homer game. Absolute monster here. So the price is up on him because of that. I understand. That said, I will say that for a bronze, if you're paying, 65, 70 for a 65, 66 rating, which is what I've got him at, that's not too bad. Now, I see here that you can get Tyler Wade a little bit cheaper there, so maybe that's just a better place to go because he's so cheap. And obviously Eric Kratz is a bad example because he's a new card and he's maintained his price. Same with Alexander Vizcaino. If you see these bronzes and commons that have huge prices and you ever wonder why, it's because they're new. So there's a rarity to them that makes them a lot more expensive. And they're actually good flip opportunities, by the way, just as a side note there. You can really flip Eric Kratz. Now, Clark Schmidt is golden right now. Everyone's trying to get him to complete their Yankees set, and he just is not that popular. My goodness, I've never seen this with a new card like that. But anyway, Higashioka is going to get an upgrade. He's not as big of an investment. If he was super cheap, like a John Curtis, it'd be better. But I had to highlight him just because that 3-homer game is going to boost him up for sure. Let's move over to Toronto. Talk about another common, Julian Merriweather, who's been excellent for them. Another single-digit guy who I've got getting the big boost. I've actually got him going up 11 points. You can see here I've got him going up to a 66 overall. You can see here, speaking of 11, this was just coincidental. His inside edge has him with plus 11s. That gets him 5 points there. I think he gets even a bigger boost than that. I think his BB9 goes up as well. He gets a nice kind of remake of his card. This is yet another guy, we've talked about a few of them this year, that Toronto's just kind of built on the fly. They've really put together some nice pitching here. Now, they did just lose Giles right back to the IL after he came back. But on the offensive side, Teoscar Hernandez came back earlier than expected, as did Bo Bichette. So, they've got this interesting bullpen. They've got some starting pieces working. Hyun-Jin Ryu's been excellent. Some of their mid-tier guys have been solid. I know Taiwan Walker got murked the other day, gave up 7 runs, but only one of them was earned. So from a fantasy standpoint, he didn't really hurt you that much. But Merriweather has 12 innings of work, 11.3 strikeouts, 3.0 walks, and 6.8 hits per 9. That's fantastic, and he needs to be revamped here. It's only 12 innings, but I do think he can get up into the bronze tier, and that's why I've got him bumped up to a 66. Moving forward, now this one, I think I've talked about him a few times before, and I don't understand what's going on here. I don't know what he did to draw the ire of folks at SDS, but what's Rafael Montero still down here at a 59 for? He's been killing it for them. He's been their closer since returning, which, that's similar to ERA. Just because you're in a prominent role like closer doesn't mean that you automatically deserve an upgrade. But again, it's similar to the ERA thing that I say that it will bring you some attention. He's got 8 saves. I mean, he's been doing the job very well for them. I thought it would bring him some attention, and yet here we are, still as a 59, despite 10.5 strikeouts, 2.6 walks, and 5.3 hits per 9. I've got him going up to a 67 here. You can see the plus 11s get him up to a 64 on the inside edge, and I've got him going up even more than that. Heck, he could even get into the 70s. I wouldn't even be surprised. I'm going to throw a few more orders in here while we're talking it through, and I got to be honest, this is a really good opportunity to get a player who can really help you with your AL West affinity exchanges for TA4, assuming you like to do the exchanges. I forget which team Texas is connected with in the West. Let's think. Would it be Colorado? It might be Colorado. So, we don't know what TA4 is going to be yet, but if the Colorado card is some badass hitter, that can help you out there as well. So definitely jump on. Let my orders go through first. Be nice. No, I'm just kidding. If you see my 9s in there and you jump them up to a 10 or 11, so be it. But I'm going to try to get some of these 9s through and see what I can do here with this Montero, because he needs to go up, and he needs to go up pretty big. One last comment here, then we'll start to get into something a little bit more meatier. I know you guys are here for the silvers and golds and diamonds, but we got to get through our commons and bronzes. This is another guy who I don't understand why he's taken so long to get attention, but it has to happen. Evan Marshall has been fantastic. Again, another guy who's having a great season. I believe he's even gotten an upgrade. I think he started lower than this, and he's gotten an upgrade because I think he got a pitch mix change too. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's gotten some attention this year, but not enough. He has 12.0 strikeouts, 2.9 walks, and 7.1 hits in 21 2/3 innings of work. That's fantastic, and that's deserving of way more than a 62 rating. I've got him going up to a 70. You can see yet again low double digits. Let me see what a 70 looks like here. You can see now, to put in orders for Jimmy Cordero, you probably put him in at like 30 to 35 and get those done. So that's a bit high. I was gonna suggest that maybe you could even just buy outright on the Evan Marshalls and it'd be a decent price. But no, I would still put in buy orders, because if he does go to 70, you compare it to the Jimmy Cordero and you can put in those and get him for cheaper than 49. But definitely get in there, get yourself some Evan Marshalls. Anything under 20 is obviously great, but even as high as 35, because I think he's going to get a big enough upgrade to make it worthwhile. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in a few more here while we're talking. Why not do it? All right, let's move on. Now we've got some bronze to bronze guys. These guys are going to have one more week to go silver if they don't go this week. And I don't think they will, at least these first few guys. I've only got them going into the low 70s. But again, Affinity Exchange possibilities. Let's go back to the Rays and talk about Nate Lowe. Now, it's Brandon Lowe, but it's Nate Lowe. I know, it's super confusing, super annoying. Where is Nate? What position is he under? He's a first baseman. What do they got him listed under? Left field or something? Oh, you know what? He might be a free agent, guys. Hang on, I'm going to check he's not a center fielder. I'm going to check the outfield positions, but he might be listed as a free agent right now, which could keep his price depressed too. Third base, just to check. Second base, mate? No, I don't think so. All right. We're going to have to look in the free agents here real quick. Bear with me. Let me find Nate Lowe, because, I have a rating for him. I got him 68 to 71. So he exists. That's for sure. So I didn't realize that he wasn't showing on their team. There he is. Yep, free agent. Okay, so this creates another opportunity, because when a guy's in the free agent pool, they're generally a bit cheaper, and then once they go onto a team, their price goes up. So now's a great time to get in. You could even end up flipping him, buy him in the 25 to 35 stub range, and then flip him, because he'll go up, probably up close to 100 something once he gets his upgrade and gets on the Rays. So I like the opportunity here for Nate Lowe. I think he goes up to a 71, with the opportunity that if he continues to play and hit, I don't know what their schedule looks like next week if they have a bunch of righties, but Nate Lowe could continue and maybe have an outside chance at silver. He is killing it this year, but it's a very small sample. 37 plate appearances, with a 267, 405, 633 line, including 3 homers and a chip-in stolen base. I doubt that they're going to do much for the stolen base. I lost him. Anyway, you saw what he was like. Get in there, get your Nate Lowe. He is listed under free agents, but he will get onto the Rays team this week. Now, we move over to starting pitchers for the Orioles. We're going to talk a little bit about Keegan Aiken. This guy has been pretty nice for them. He had a bumpy outing 2 starts ago. The Yankees ripped him, and there's no shame in getting ripped by the Yankees. He bounced back very nicely just yesterday with an 8 strikeout game. And if you look, that's where he's going to get his big gains, is via the strikeout rate. It's at 62 right now, but he has a 12.1 K9. He struck out 9 Braves just yesterday on the 16th. Like I said, he got blasted by New York on last Friday. Only lasted 2/3 of an inning, gave up 4 runs. The start before that, though, he faced the Yankees. He threw 5 1/3 scoreless with 8 strikeouts. The start before that, he struck out 6 Blue Jays. So the strikeout rate's been excellent. Let me see what the other metrics are looking like. 4.3 BB9, so I don't think his walk rate's going to go up too much. Maybe 3 to 4 points max. But then the hit 9, he's at 6.8. That's got to go up. So the hits and Ks are going to bounce up for Keegan Aiken. I got him going up to a 72. 2 more good starts. Actually, no. If he started yesterday, he's only going to get 1 more before the last upgrade. It would have to be really, really good to get him to silver. But maybe he could bump up to 73, 74. We would take any points that we can get, because right now we're looking at him as an Affinity Exchange type. Staying with starters and backing out like I love to do on accident. Every episode, every damn episode. All right, Ian Anderson, we know what he's been doing. Here's the tough part. I have to highlight him because he is going to get a nice upgrade. I think he's going to go up to a 73. The investment is not really there because of the fact that he's the newer card. You can see here, 632, 252. This is based on the fact that he's a new card. So the best you could do, what my recommendation here would be, if you wanted to buy a couple in this 250 to 275 range and then flip them, because he'll remain rare and his value will go up when he becomes a 73, if he gets up to the 73 that I have him projected for. So be careful. Don't overinvest here. This is not a flip situation, because even if he goes silver, or it's not a quick sell situation, it is a flip situation, where you would buy a couple shares and put in the orders for them, get your 300, 400 stubs, do that a bunch of times to make it worth your while. But that's the best case that you're looking at here with Ian Anderson. Let's jump all the way back to the Orioles for a second. I was already on the Braves. I'm all over the map today, guys. You're gonna have to deal with me being wild, not knowing what I'm saying, and not knowing what position players are at. I think he's in left field. No, is he in right field? DJ Stewart, where are you? There you are, buddy. DJ Stewart's been ripping the cover off the ball. I got him going up to a 73 because he's been absolutely crushing for them, and I think they're going to give him a nice, healthy boost here. I want to say, sneak tip BR player for your bench, by the way. You can see the small numbers. It's a tiny sample, but I've loved having him on the bench so far. He's done well for me. I continue to put him on the bench where I can. Comes off the bench, hits against righties, does a bit of damage. But I've got him to go up nicely. He has 7 homers on the year in a very small sample of work. And I think that his power against righties and his, well, maybe not his contact. I was going to say and his contact. His batting average is actually pretty light, 232 overall, and it's pretty weak against both sides. But the power against righties, I think, needs to go into the 80s. I think his power against lefties could bounce up a little bit. He's only 2 for 9 against lefties, but one of them is a homer. And if we're judging off of small samples, he's got to go up a little bit. So I think there's some power love there for DJ Stewart. And frankly, I don't want him to go silver because keeping him in the bronze tier makes him a better bench bat for us in BR. There is an investment opportunity there, though, because if he goes into the 70s, good exchange value. Now, this guy I do believe could get to silver by next week. He's going to get a healthy boost here. Since joining the Mariners, Ty France has found a full-time role that he just couldn't find with the Padres, and it was more because the Padres have so many good players than anything France was doing or wasn't doing, as it were. He actually had an 868 OPS and 309 average with them in 61 plate appearances, but where was he going to play regularly? I mean, he plays all over the infield, but you got Hosmer, Cronenworth, Tatis, Machado. There's no room at the end for France. So that's why he was traded in the big Austin Nola deal. He's found a full-time role with the Mariners, and he's continued to hit 295 average, 903 OPS, a couple homers in 50 plate appearances. I've actually got him going up to a 73. And like I said, if he continues to hit like this, he'll go up to silver by next week's update. I really think there's a strong chance there. Let me take a look at his splits real quick while I have his page pulled up. It is as we see here, where he's much better against righties than lefties. So he's not going to get much against lefties, but I think the 62.55 against righties needs to go way up. I'm thinking at least 10 points for each. So we'll see where that takes him. I think it's going to get him to the mid-70s, and we'll see if it's good enough to get him all the way to... Oh, I just bought one for 175. Son of a gun. I did not mean to do that. Now I'm going to have to flip a few just to get my money back, because that stings. I just gave away so much value there in one fell swoop. It's not the end of the world. I understand that, but it does annoy me. So now I got to try to sell. I got to try to sell a couple back. Son of a gun. I am so mad at myself for accidentally hitting that. This is what happens when I try to do too many things at once. I should have done all my orders before coming on stream, before coming on video, but I see the prices here and I want to jump in. Anyway, I got Ty France up to a 73. This next guy here, I've got him going up not only due to his offense, but also due to his defense. And I sent a note over to Luis over at SDS with a group of players who I think could get a defensive boost. Now, in a normal season, they do 2 big updates on defense, usually. They do kind of a mid-season update at the All-Star break, and then another sweep at the end of the year. Well, we didn't get a normal year, and it really is kind of difficult to stay on top of defense. You can't really update it week to week. It's just too noisy, meaning it bounces. Like, if you were going to update week to week, you would literally be taking guys from, like, bronze to diamond and then back to common. Like, it could bounce that much if you did it just based on a single week, and that's stupid. So it doesn't look like they're going to do any big sweeps of defense this year. So I went ahead, took the initiative, did some of the work, and said, hey, if you guys want to use it, here's what I've got. Kiner Falefa was somebody I absolutely had to highlight because he's been remarkably strong as a defender at third base. So he needs a big boost there. But I also think there's some offensive work to be done. As you can see, plus 14s against lefties would only get him 1 point of overall. So that's kind of a bummer. But he does deserve a big boost against lefties. However, he deserves some love against righties too. The power's not really going to jump up that much. He has 1 homer, 2 triples, and 2 doubles among his 32 hits. He has less than a 100 ISO. For those that don't know what ISO is, it's your slugging minus your batting average. It basically takes out your singles. 200 is a good one. 250 starts to be a really nice power guy, and anything over 250, you're a power stud. So to put that into context, Kiner Falefa's ISO against righties is 75. It's terrible. So he's not going up there, but I do think the 264 average could get a little bit of love, maybe up into the low 60s. It's not a great batting average, but it's certainly not bad. Meanwhile, he's hitting 429 against lefties with a 102. Yeah, 102 ISO. So again, power is not his calling card, but I do think the contact against lefties could go up into the 90s. Where he's really going to get upgraded, if he does go into the 70s the way I have him projected, is if they go ahead and do move his defense. Because he needs to go like into the 70s or 80s. I'm talking he is a premium defender at third base, and that needs to be reflected on this card. So that's the only way he's going to go up. So with that in mind, don't go too crazy on your investment here just in case they decide not to do that defensive move. And instead, if it's only based on offense, then he's only getting like a point, maybe two. But if they do it based on defense as well, I think he can go up to 73, 74. Next up, staying in the AL West, but moving over to pitchers, we have to talk about Jake Diekman. This is my boy, man. I love Jake Diekman. He was my MTO god, March to October god, although I did have a hilarious situation where we were about to win the World Series and I wanted him to get into a game. I was like, he didn't make it into the World Series. We're about to sweep. And he blew the game, and we had to play another game. It was fantastic. He got absolutely crushed. But to that point, he'd been fantastic. As far as this year's gone, he's been awesome. He learned Chaz Rowe's slider. I think I've mentioned this before because I've actually had him for an upgrade on a previous episode, and he just hasn't really gotten much love from SDS this year. But he learned Chaz Rowe's slider by seeing it on Pitching Ninja's Twitter, and he reached out to Pitching Ninja like, hey, what's the deal with this slider? How can I learn it? It's kind of a little bit more of a sweeper. And he throws a left-handed. Chaz Rowe's right-handed, so he fancied himself a left-handed version of it. In 17 and a third innings, he has 12 and a half strikeouts, 5.7 walks, so that 24 BB9's not going up, but 3.6 hits. That's where the big boost is going to come here for Diekman. He hasn't allowed a run this year, and he has a 104 whip. So I think the strikeouts, even at 12.5, I think that deserves a boost into the high 90s, and I think the hits 9 deserves a boost into the low 90s. And that's where you're going to see some love for Diekman. I've got him going up to a 73, 74 range. I think I put him at 73, but he could go as high as 74. And then, I don't know. Because he's a reliever, I don't know if there's enough time for him to really go silver. If they put him up to a 73 this week, I don't know if there's much he can do in a week's time to go to silver the following week. But I would still be happy with a boost up to 73. He's cheap enough to still invest in. Staying on the A's and moving to the backstop, Sean Murphy. Now, you guys may be familiar with him via his 2 diamond cards. He's got the prospect and the future star. I recommend both, by the way. The future and just cut to the chase and go to the future star at this point. But both have done well for me. It's time for his live series to get some love, and I've got him going up 3 points to a 73, and this would also entail some defensive love. He's been strong behind the dish this year. He's really been an exemplary rookie catcher, and I'm generally afraid of rookie catchers. They take a while to develop, and usually I think the right move is to kind of fade them, particularly from a fantasy standpoint, which is what I mostly focus on. But he's been pretty good, and catcher in general has sucked, so those two things have worked to make him a really good option this year. He has 5 of his 6 homers against righties, so I think that power against righties could go up even more. I will say that the platoon that we see here on the card does actually exist with what he's been doing this year. He has a 917 OPS against righties and a 579 against lefties. So we're not getting any lefty love. The way that he goes up to 73, 74 is if he gets the boost against righties in the power and the defense. So it's like Kiner Falefa, where he needs to get the double boost and the defensive love to really make the move up. But I do like Sean Murphy. And by the way, if you are in a fantasy league that's keeper situation, whatnot, I like him for the future. Once a rookie catcher kind of gets his bearings, then I'm ready to buy in. But it's that first year or so that I'm just a little reluctant, because a lot of teams will tell the catcher, hey man, don't worry about your hitting. You have to learn the pitchers. You have to learn how to be a defensive catcher at the major league level. That's difficult, and that's what you need to focus on. I doubt they outright say, hey, we don't care if you hit 185 or something like that, but they definitely stress to them that the offense is not the most important factor in the game. Sorry, I was shifting my fan over there, if you're wondering why I was looking over there. But anyway, moving on to another rookie, who also has a Future Stars card that's been pretty impressive, if you've gotten a chance to use it. Bobby Dahlbeck. Why is he not listed at first? Oh, third base. Bobby Dahlbeck has hit the ground running in the major leagues, and he's done some really good work for the Red Sox. He's clubbed 6 homers already in 55 plate appearances. So I think he gets some love up to a 73. Maybe a crazy week, the rest of this week and into next might get him to silver. He does have a 988 OPS against righties and a 982 against lefties. So he's crushing both sides to the point where maybe there's enough heat to get him up to a 75. But right now I've got him going up to a 73, and we'll kind of assess him going into next week after this weekend. Another rookie. This was inadvertent. We actually have 2 more rookies in a row here, both pitchers this time. Going over to the Central, Dane Dunning has been awesome, man. Again, I think I've talked about him before, maybe in a previous update or maybe just on stream, but he was a forgotten player in the deal that sent him to the White Sox. It was in that Washington deal for Lucas Giolito. It was Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo Lopez, and Dane Dunning for Adam Eaton. So Eaton was the established major leaguer, and Lopez and Giolito were the hot minor leaguers that they got. Dunning was kind of a throw-in, but he was a first-round pick as well, and so he deserved a little bit more love. The problem was he hadn't really done much yet, and so he was a little bit under the radar as far as what he was really going to offer. Well, flash forward now, and here we are, and I think he's bypassed Reynaldo Lopez. Not that that's that difficult. I mean, if you have an arm that can throw forward, you can bypass Reynaldo Lopez. This comes from a former Reynaldo Lopez mega fan, by the way. I've fallen for him many a time, so believe me, it comes with a lot of hardship that I actually roast him there. I've been rooting for him for years. I think maybe bullpen is still an opportunity for him to become something, but Dane Dunning has really established himself, shown himself nicely early on here. I don't think he's established himself after 27 innings, but he looks like a nice mid-rotation arm. He's got a 9.3 strikeout rate, 3.0 walk, and 5.3 hits 9. So I think all 3 metrics can get a little bit of a boost here in 27 innings of work, and I think we're looking at a potential silver here. I've got him going up to a 74, but he's right on that cusp that I think he could get silver, and if you can get a silver for under 100, that's great, especially for the team affinities. Next up, we stay in the Central. Another rookie pitcher, as I mentioned, Brady Singer. He's been awesome. He decimated the Tigers on Wednesday night. That's not saying a whole lot, but hey, you got to play who's in front of you, so we're not going to take anything away from Singer just because he's beating up on lesser competition. But he has 8.6 Ks, 3.0 walks, and 7.6 hits. Again, I think all 3 metrics deserve a boost here, and I've actually got him going to silver, even though he's starting lower than Dunning. So maybe I should have Dunning at silver then too. Because let's see, Dunning has, I guess the real difference between them though, this is why I have more confidence that Singer could get silver right now. He's got 54 innings to Dunning's 27. So while Dunning might have a few better metrics, slightly, his strikeout rate's a bit better and his hit rate's a bit better, it comes in half the innings. So you have to give a little bit more credence to the volume that Singer's done this with. So I've got him going to silver. And again, this is a great price to get a silver at and store him away for some TA exchanges. Next up, my boy. They hooked it up. They hooked it up last week, and I am very happy. Thank you, SDS, for giving us the Tops Now Brad Miller. And now it's time to put him into silver. As much as I will not want to see him go away from bronze because of BR goodness, I'll still take him as a silver. There's nothing wrong with that. Brad Miller's swing has played well in the game for years. And I think it's time for him to go silver to 75. He's just been playing too well. And I think there really is an opportunity to go ahead and push him up the extra 2 points. You can see that the +3s that Inside Edge is delivering today, they don't do anything to move the needle, but I think he's going to get more than that, obviously. And I think a lot of it's going to come against righties where he can get boosted on both the batting average and particularly the power. In fact, I think the power needs to be in the mid to upper 70s, and the contact could maybe go up a couple points. I really think it's going to be power against righties. And then a little bit of each against lefties. Maybe something like +7 against both sides. Something into the 60s for both. Nothing crazy. He's not tearing the cover off the ball against lefties. In fact, he doesn't really play against them. He only has 14 plate appearances. But he has an 857 OPS. So they can reflect that and give him a little bit of love. But I think there's enough for 2 points of love for Miller to get him up to a 75. Back on the rookie train, I didn't realize how many rookies we had to talk about today, but Ryan Mountcastle, holy smokes. I think when he came up, again, I don't remember if it was on a video or on stream, where I said, hey, look, Orioles fans, be excited because this is a big prospect coming up, but he's not a savior type. You know, he's not going to move the needle that much, blah, 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 blah. This shows what I know. I'm an idiot. He's been awesome. Now, I will say, I think this is, a fast start that's been excellent, and he's earned it, but that doesn't mean that this is who he's going to be for his career. You look at him in 960 OPS with a 337 batting average, 5 homers in 94 plate appearances. I definitely think that he deserves a big upgrade. I've actually got him going into a silver as a 75. He also has a Future Stars card, so you should take a look at that if you like Ryan Mountcastle. I don't know how good his defense is, though, so I don't know if there's any love for the defense or not. Next up is J.B. Wendelken, a relief pitcher. Speaking of March to October, when I talked about it with Diekman, I actually liked Wendelken even more than Diekman. But for some reason, that love that I've had for him in MTO has not translated to Diamond Dynasty at all. As you can see, the numbers are an absolute disaster here. And a lot of the damage was done in an event. I don't know if it was the Moonshot one or what, but it was one where there was a lot of gold and diamond hitters and you were using bronze pitchers, and I was just getting crushed. But even in BR, where he's facing guys that aren't, it's not star-studded lineups and stuff, it's just been bad. But anyway, that's not going to stop him from deserving an upgrade, as he has pitched well for the A's this year. He has 11.1 strikeouts, 3.4 walks, 6.0 hits per 9. That's good enough for some love, really on the Ks and walks. I don't think that the hits are necessarily going to go up at 81. That's pretty good. That reflects kind of the 6.0 that he has. But I think the Ks are where he's really going to get a boost. I think that could go into the high 70s, and he's only 1 point away from silver, so I think he does get there. Let's go to a veteran here, veteran first baseman who has certainly rebounded nicely after a rough season last year, and that is Jesus Aguilar. He was really tough last year with Milwaukee, and then got traded over to the Rays. He actually got it going a little bit with the Rays. He got off to a fast start this year, slowed down, but he's come all the way back. And so I like his opportunity to go silver here because his card is certainly good. This is another guy who's actually a pretty good BR player for your bench, or if you're stacked everywhere else and you have to kind of go a little cheap at first base, you can use Aguilar as your starter. But I look at him and he's really balanced. He's got an 818 OPS against righties, 846 against lefties. I think that's good for a little bit of love across the board. I think that against lefties, both of his metrics should be in the 70s, and against righties, the contact should be up in the 60s. I think the power can kind of stay where it's at 77, but we're only talking 1 point, so he doesn't need that much to get to silver. Next one, this will be very quick because you guys already know he's going to get a big boost. When you throw a no-hitter, you get boosted. It's that simple. And you get a 99 card. Alec Mills got his 99. There's no investment opportunity here. Sell, by the way. Sell, sell, sell. If you have any, you should have been selling on Sunday. I hope you did because his price was crazy. It was up in like the 900s for some reason. He's not going gold. He's not skipping silver entirely and going gold. In fact, I've got him going up 1 point. Like, the no-hitter's great, and I like that he got the tops now. He deserves it. If you throw a no-hitter, you deserve that card. That's great. But as far as his live series goes, they still have to go off the full season, and there's just not a lot of movement there. He doesn't strike guys out. He doesn't have an amazing walk rate, and the hits 9 will go up enough to move him up to silver, but that's it. Our last move into silver here is from the Detroit Tigers, and it is Jeimer Candelario. Now, he got boosted last week, so we've talked about him recently. And let's see, did I put him on last week's list? I'm pretty sure I did. Oh, you know what? I did make a video last week. That's right. I was at my mom's, so I wasn't able to make a video. I did put him on the investment list, but I didn't make a video. Did I have him on 2 weeks ago? Oh, I did actually. I moved him from 69 to 74. And then this week I had him going 72 to 75, or last week that is. And now this week, since he's only at 74, I've got him 74 to 76. He just continues to hit. So it's time. It's absolutely time to give him silver, and it should be an easy upgrade. Now here's some silver to silvers. And these are some guys who you could look at as potential golds for next week because, again, the gold market's pretty tapped out this week. So you might have to look at some of these other guys that are a little bit off the radar. Let's start with Josh Stomont. Is he listed as their closer now? He is. Okay. So this is the tough one as far as getting the gold because that walk rate's pretty ugly. 6.3. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. In fact, I'm concerned that it could actually go down a little bit. However, I think the K rate needs to go up quite a bit. He's at 14.4 Ks per 9. So I think that needs to go up into the high 90s. And I think the hit rate being 6.3 needs to push beyond 82, maybe into the low 90s. To me, that seems like it should be enough for 2 points and get him up to a 77. Now, I will say, this is similar to Diekman in all relievers, really. I don't know if he can do enough in the final week plus of the season to move that needle. Let's say he gets 77, but is there enough for him to move the needle 3 points? Probably not. So he's not the best one to invest in as a hold for gold right now. But the next one will be, he will be. Okay. All of the rest of these will be, even one reliever, because I think I have him going to a 79, so he'll be right on the cusp. But this first guy right here, this first guy might actually go to gold this week. So keep an eye on that. You want to invest this week if you can, because he's still very much affordable. In fact, you might have seen some orders go through for me for this guy, and it is Josh Bell. Now, he got downgraded pretty big this year. He was up at, I think, 82, and he went all the way down here to 75. I've got him going back up to a 78, but that's going to put him right back on the cusp for gold. And frankly, I might be being too conservative. I don't know. Maybe they will push him all the way back up. Let me look up what I did. I had these numbers. I should have transcribed them for this video for sure. Because if you look at Josh Bell since his last downgrade, that's what we're going to look at here. Since he went out of gold, that was on August 29th. He went from a 75 to an 80. From an 80 to a 75. He got a 5-point crushing. So since that point, we're going to go, bam. From that point forward, he's hitting 339, 432, 597 with 5 homers in 74 plate appearances. Josh Bell is absolutely playing like a gold over the last 19 games. Is it enough for them to move him back? I think his history as a gold all of last year is something that will influence them to move him quicker. I think they can say, oh, okay, he's back to playing like the guy that we expected. So I think they can be a bit more aggressive. So don't drag your feet here. You definitely want to get in this week. But even if he doesn't go up this week, let's say he goes up to the 78 that I have him, there's still plenty of opportunity to get in and make sure you're holding for gold, because I think another strong week will get him there. And he hasn't killed it this week, but he's been fine. In fact, let's see. Yeah, he had a home run on Monday, and he has a hit on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. 1 for 3 and 1 for 2. With a walk on both days as well. So, he just continues to play well at this point. And I think it's an opportunity for us to really get a cheap potential return to gold here. I'm surprised, actually, that the market isn't hotter on him, because I think he was one of Rory's risers on the SDS stream. And, that doesn't mean that just because Rory likes him that he'll automatically go up. But because he was a Rory's riser, which means he's on his radar, and the fact that he's killing it, those two things add up and make him an obvious guy to look at as a potential gold. Next up, now this is the reliever who I do believe will go. I've got him going to a 79 this week, and then he could go to an 80 the following week. I think he could do enough, because he'll only need 1 point. I got Trevor Rosenthal here going up 3 points to a 79, and then let's see. I'll give you some metrics here. So he's got 14 strikeouts per 9, 3.9 walks, and 5.3 hits. So right off the bat, the hits need to go way up. I don't know why it's still down at 5.3. He's actually been better with San Diego, by the way. It's a small sample of 5 innings, but he's at 3.6 with them. And so he's also at 1.8 walks with them. But that's not enough to move the needle yet. So I think the walk rate maybe can go up 3 to 4 points. That's not really doing a whole lot there. Maybe put it at a 57 to 58. The K9, though, I think it's time to go 99 to 101 range. Like, he's got 14 strikeouts per 9 this year. That's fantastic. He's been a strikeout beast in the past. This is not new. This is who he can be. But the real winner here as to why he's going to go up to a 79 and possibly up to an 80 by season's end is that hits 9. He's at 5.3 for the season and 3.6 with the Padres. I think this needs to go up into the mid-80s right now. And if he continues to stifle hits throughout this weekend and into next week, boom, bump it up again and put him into gold. I think he's a great hold for gold. The market isn't very hot on him. I've only got 6. I actually need to get my act together. You see, this guy's tapped into my system right now. Whoever put in that 275, he bounced it up 53 stubs because he knows. He's like, I got to get this Trevor Rosenthal order in right now because Spore's about to put this price up. I'm gonna do 236 because I don't think I think someone's gonna sell him his 275, and then my 236s are gonna be the high. That's what I'm going to do here. But we'll reassess it later tonight. By the time you guys watch this video, though, he may be even higher. So jump in right away when you see it. I don't think that even if a lot of people are hot on what I'm saying about Bell and Rosenthal, I don't think that their price will become cost prohibitive. I think they'll still be affordable even if a bunch of people jump in. Let's stay on this ball club and talk about another guy going to a 79, and that's Trent Grisham. He's continuing to crush it. The problem is, and the reason that I'm not sure he can necessarily get to gold is because you see that platoon split that we have on the card? That absolutely fits real life. Wait a minute. I am dead wrong. He has completely flipped the script on me. Pardon me. Whoa, when did he start hitting lefties? Holy Toledo. I did not know this. I had not checked in on Grisham for a little while. I swear, for most of this season, he was not hitting lefties. And so it was one of those things where it's like, yep, this platoon split that they have makes a lot of sense. All right. This is new. Okay, I'm not crazy. So through August, he had 40 plate appearances against lefties with a 184, 225, 263 line. Good for a 488 OPS. That was horrible. So that I was like, okay, well that, this makes sense. He can't hit lefties for anything. Since then, in September, he's hitting 533, so the batting average and OBP are the same. There's no walks, with an 800 slug in 16 plate appearances. Small sample, but so good that he should actually get an upgrade against lefties. Nothing crazy. I don't think you can go higher than for the year, he's at 283, 309, 415. I think that's good for a 62 contact and a 53 power. Something like that. But hey, that's a substantial jump here. Not to mention, against righties on the season, he's at 261, 364, 493. Actually, I think his righty numbers are fine. Okay. I had him. Here's the thing. This is like I've mentioned this before on stream about doing this as a sports predictor. I got the right answer, but I showed my work, and how I got there didn't make any sense. You know how you had to do that in math where you'd have to show your work, and this jumbled shit that you wrote doesn't make sense. So you got the right answer, but we don't know how you got there, so -2. So I did get to the right answer here. I do believe he can go up to a 79 with an opportunity to get 80. But the way that I got there is ass backwards, because I thought he was still killing righties while struggling against lefties. But that is not the case. And I'm really intrigued, though. I got to be honest. I think this is a really interesting setup for Trent Grisham the rest of the way. And I'm eager to see if it plays out this way where he could actually get to gold. Keep an eye on Trent Grisham. All right, next up. This is another one of Rory's risers, which I bring up because, again, that means that he's firmly on the radar. They still have to perform. They're not just going to cheat them up to a higher level. If the guy performs, though, that he's going to get there. And that's Gleyber Torres, who, again, I'm surprised is not getting a lot of love because he was highlighted on the stream. So let me do another thing like I did with Josh Bell. Let's go from when he was downgraded. He moved out of gold on August 14th from 82 to 79. And actually last week, it's funny because he was on Rory's risers, even though he had just gotten a -2 from the September 11th update. But let's just look at since August 14th, since he was downgraded from gold. Since then, we have Gleyber Torres has been hitting 383, 482, 574. Now, the tough part is he only has one home run. You notice that batting average and slug, they weren't too far. What did we just learn about? ISO. And if you subtract those two, it's a 191. That's okay. That's okay. Like I said, 200 is where you start to get pretty good for power, and anything above like 250 is really good. So, this area that we're in with Torres since his downgrade isn't bad. We could use a few more homers. However, I think the contact is what's going to really drive this upgrade. And just looking at it since August 14th, again, since he was downgraded into silver, he's hitting 410 against righties. That's going to be good for a huge boost. He's only hitting 273 against lefties, which isn't bad, but I don't know that it can go much higher than 60. Now, if you isolate it a little bit more, and you look at since he really started to take off again, because here's the thing. If you look at that August 14th to now, he was great from August 14th to August 17th, hit a low, and he's been good again since September 9th, from September 9th to September 13th. So it's been a weird jumble. But let's just look at the September 9th to September 13th run. He's hitting 500, 563, 929 in 16 plate appearances. So I think he gets to a 79 this week, and then if he continues to hit, we get to gold by season's end. So there's still room to invest at 476 here, and I definitely think that Gleyber Torres is worth taking a closer look at. Two more guys staying in silver here, but going to 79s, which means they're going to be on the cusp for gold next week. Let's take a drink while we're shifting over here to the Angels. And we're looking at Andrew Heaney. Now, Dylan Bundy's got the love this year, and deservedly so. He's been fantastic. I know he did get ripped his last time out. It happens. You can't be great every time. Now, this is one of those cases where I learned from a mistake. Remember when I was not on Tyler Glasnow's upgrade? And it was because he had like a 4.14 ERA, and he just wasn't hitting my radar because his ERA was a little muffed. Scuffed was what I was supposed to be saying. It's not a punt. It wasn't a muffed punt. Anyway, I'm a moron. But anyway, 4.02 for Andrew Heaney ERA. That's not terrible, by the way. So it's not even like he's been sucking, and yet his skills are great. He's just got a little bit of a high ERA. But he's got 9.5 Ks, 2.6 walks, and 7.9 hits. He's been really good. And I think we can see two areas of major opportunity for him to get upgraded. The hits and the walks. Now, the strikeouts are fine. Nobody's complaining about a 9.5? Yeah, nobody's complaining about that. However, it is down from last year's 11.1. But the walk rate at 62 is too low when you consider that he has a 2.6 mark. So I think the hit 9 needs to go into the mid-70s, and I think the walk rate needs to go into the low 70s. And frankly, I will say that I feel like 9.5 strikeouts from a starter is probably worth a high 70s K9, right? Maybe not. I mean, he had 11.0 last year, 11.1 last year, though, and 9.0 the year before that. So if you look at his 3-year mark, his K9 is 9.7. I don't know. I think that's better than a 73, isn't it? I know strikeouts are plentiful these days, and so the thresholds are definitely higher, but I think that's worth at least like a 77. So I think a little bit of love on the hits, Ks, and walks for Heaney is enough to at least get him 79 this week and knocking on the door of gold. Let's see when he starts next. Because if he could start... Well, could he really start twice before the next update? I don't think so, based on how it works. He starts Saturday and then Friday. So that Friday one will not be, the last update will be out by then. But he starts against Texas on Saturday. So here's the thing. If he goes up to a 79 this week, he just gets a 1-point boost, but then goes out and kicks ass against Texas, I think we get our 80. So he's an interesting hold for gold. He's not particularly expensive. I think he's definitely worth looking at. And then our final silver to silver guy is Victor Reyes of the Detroit Tigers. So nice to have some Detroit Tigers worth talking about for upgrades this year. They've been weirdly decent. They're losing tonight to Shane Bieber, but there's no shame in that. I mean, you could take a Tigers all-star team and probably get their butts kicked by Shane Bieber. Anyway, 285, 318, 424 line on the season for Victor Reyes. He's been upgraded, I think, at least once, maybe twice. Let me see where he started this season. He started at 72. He went up 72 to 75, and then 75 to 78. That happened on September 3rd. So let's kind of look at him since September 3rd. Let's see what he's been doing since that last upgrade. Has he done enough to merit further love? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. And I would say that it's close. Now, you can't just go since September 3rd. You have to go from when that update locked. And I believe that update would have locked, if it was September 3rd, that was a Thursday. It probably would have locked on Tuesday. So I don't know if the Tuesday game is in there or not. He did go 4 for 6 with a homer, which would definitely fundamentally change the numbers that we're looking at here. Let's assume that game got put in, and we're just looking since September 2nd. 250, 288, 321. Actually, that would not merit an upgrade. That's actually not very good. However, by the way, he's batting right this moment. If he goes yard against Bieber, I'm going to buy 10 shares like that. I promise. I'll do it. So why do I still have him on the upgrade list then? You're probably wondering to yourself. Here's why. His verse lefty is wrong. He's at 72-30, even though he's hitting 353, 438, 382. Now, the power's fine, but 353 batting average suggests that the contact needs to go up. Now, on the other side of that, the contact versus righty might come down a little bit and mitigate it. I got to be honest. He might get nooched. And by the way, he grounded out to first base. And instead of touching the base with his foot, Carlos Santana took his glove and tagged the base. What a weirdo. He might get nooched, which is a dorky way of saying neutral, a neutral move, which is you get pluses somewhere, but you get minuses another spot, and your overall stays the same. I'm actually going to back off of my 79. I'm going to say that Victor gets nooched, and then we need a great weekend and early next week to get to gold. Be careful here. Do not invest highly. I've got 15 that I've been hanging on to for a while now. I'm just going to sit tight on these. I am not going to add more. If I was redoing it right now, I would not have included him on the list. I think he's actually someone to be careful with. So please do not overinvest. I think he's been good, but it already shows in his numbers how good he's been. By the way, tiny sample, but I loved using him in a BR that got stunted early. You see, I only played 4 games. I was kind of pissed because the offense was killing it, but I had no freaking pitching. I really wanted to see how well I could go with Victor Reyes there. Anyway, let's get into the golds. You guys want to see some new golds? I know. And here we go. We've got Tanner Rainey going up. And I've got him. Now, this is an interesting one because I refuse to use him in BR despite the nasty stuff. He's got 98. He's got nice hit and Ks. I refuse to use him because I don't trust guys with 35 BB9 and 33 control. However, that's precisely what needs to be upgraded. And his hit 9, by the way. He's at 3.5. But 3.1 walks per 9 this year, he needs an upgrade there. And I think it'll be enough with the hits. The hits should go into the low to mid 90s. The walk rate should go into the mid to high 50s. And that should be enough to get him gold. So I've got him going 3 points to gold. Next up is a veteran starter who's having a quality season. And that is Kevin Gausman. Now, he's another one. I learned my lesson. Same as Heaney. A little bit of a higher ERA, 4.05. Not necessarily jumping off my page as far as my filters go, because I look at, I have the ERA included on the page there, so sometimes I wasn't looking at those guys, but I've learned. And the 4.05 ERA, 4.05 is not even bad, by the way. That's the thing of it is with the Glasnow thing, I don't even have an excuse because he had a 4.14 when he got upgraded, or 4.21. Neither of which is a bad ERA. Anyway, we know the deal. I've learned. 12.0 strikeouts, 2.3 walks, and 7.9 hits for Gausman. The hit 9 is what really needs to be upgraded. 7.9 hits is a solid mark. It's worth at least the high 60s. I think the K rate needs to go up for sure. And the BB rate could too. I think all three deserve some love, and that's why I have Kevin Gausman going to gold. And there's actually some movement here. There's some investment potential here. This is one of the few guys that I have going gold that you can actually get in on. Now the next, the remaining 6, I'm not going to cover too much because there's not a lot of buying opportunity if you're not already in on them. So I'm not going to waste y'all's time and go too crazy on them. Let's start with Corbin Burns. He's been fantastic. I think there's no way that he doesn't go gold this year. He's been awesome. He had a really rough season last year where he gave up 1 billion homers. He altered his pitch mix tremendously, and he's really done a great job. I've got him getting 2 points and going to gold. I mean, he could get 3 and go to 81, but either way, I got him going gold. Next up is another veteran starter on the Padres. I've called him right-handed Marco Gonzalez. That's going to be Zach Davies. Community's pretty keen on him already, though. As you can see, 700/609. They're already in, ready to see him go gold. I didn't get in on the ground floor here, so I've kind of sat out this one. I don't really want to buy a bunch of stubs in the 600s and kind of take like 300 something profit. I'm just going to go ahead and sit this one out. Doesn't mean I don't believe in him, just means I didn't get in early enough. The market was sharp on him. This next one, there's no chance. I mean, at least with Davies, if you fully believe in it the way I do, then there's something there. I just want to put my stubs and effort elsewhere. It's just a matter of like the time that I want to put in for 350 stubs per, because it's not guaranteed, but it is a high probability. Like I believe in Davies going gold. This guy, I also super believe in him going gold, but there is no upside potential here with Dom Smith. He's at 886. I mean, what, you can get like 100 stubs? It's not worth it to me, even though it's a damn near guarantee that he goes gold. I do have him going up to an 80. Now, I got to be honest, when it comes to these 79s, I don't necessarily try to like nail it and be like, oh, he's going to go 81, he's going to go 82. I'm just, the point is that they're going to go gold. And I know I could be a little bit more refined and say, okay, he's going to go to an 82, and that might have some value if there was more time. There's not that much more time left in the season. So, for example, if I thought he would go 82, well, then maybe he'd be somebody we would hold and see if he's destined for diamond. Season runs out next week, so it doesn't matter. Just so if you wonder why I always have these 79s going to an 80, that's why. I do have one going to an 81. It's just because I love him, though. Another veteran starter, another Zach Davies type. I thought he was going to go last week. I don't know why Kyle Hendricks didn't go. There's a little bit of investment opportunity here because I do feel strongly about him, although he didn't go last week. That's why something like a Zach Davies, even though I feel really good about it, I don't want to do it for 350 stubs because I could still be wrong. And I was wrong on Kyle Hendricks last week, although I'm going to double down this week and say that I still believe that he's going to go. And you can get in and buy some still. I'm more apt to sell on the hype this time around because I'm so nervous after last time. But I look, and again, I don't get how he wouldn't go. Last week, 7 2/3, 2 runs, 6 hits, 0 walks, 7 strikeouts against the Brewers. He leads the National League with a .8 BB9. Like, 88 is too low of a BB9, plain and simple. And, there isn't a lot of upgrade elsewhere. Like, his K9 is 7.0. 59's about right. Here's the thing. His hit 9 is never amazing. It's at 8.6. Like, that doesn't jump off the page as like, wow. Sometimes I wonder if with a guy like this, with a proven track record of being able to limit contact or limit hard contact and kind of have a contact management profile, if maybe they should gas his hit 9 a little bit. Nothing crazy. Don't put him at like a 90. But gas it a little bit more than you would, say just like 15% more than you would for whatever an 8.6 would normally generate, because I think his 8.6 is created a bit differently than other guys. I think there's really an opportunity to do something like that. But either way, I'm rambling about Kyle Hendricks. I think his hit 9 needs to go into the mid to high 90s, and that alone should get him to 80, and then we have our gold. All right, and then our last new gold here. No opportunity to invest, but I've been telling you about him for weeks. So if you're not in, that one's on you. Devin Williams, baby. And I do have him going to an 81. He's the only one I put. And again, I honestly kind of did it to be silly so that he would be at the top of the new golds. Because like I said, I don't usually give it that much thought. If they're 79s and I think they can go gold, I just put him at 80. I don't worry about trying to be precise. I did put him at an 81 though, because I do think there's some love to be had. And listen, they've been doing work. They had that 1 week where I thought he was going to go up from like a 53 to like a 70, and they didn't give him anything, and I was like, what am I missing? Since then, though, they've been on it, and they've given Devin Williams plenty of love, and I think they're going to continue it forward here and finish off the job and put him into a gold. He went 53 to 72 back on September 3rd, and then 72 to 79 last week, and I think he goes up again this week and gets to gold. I think his K9 is going to go up even more. He has 18.4 strikeouts per 9. I think his hits 9 is going to go up as well. He's at 2.6, and even his walk rate could probably go into the low 60s. It's at 3.4, which high 50s, low 60s, whatever. Even if it doesn't move, who cares? The other two are going to move as they should. I think, by the way, I don't think this affects overall that much, but from a playability standpoint, I'd really like to see his clutch go up. And that's with runners in scoring position. And let me find that for you guys. Let me let you know what he's doing. Where's the bases occupied here? Runners in scoring position, he has a 220 OPS. That needs to be like a 90. I'm not even kidding. I think they should double it. And so yeah, Devin Williams, absolute god, and I really hope we can get a. I think he has a good opportunity to be the reliever player of the month. Not that they guarantee a reliever diamond every month, but if they do another one like they did with the James Karinchak, I think Devin Williams should be the one for September. All right, now I have 4 guys staying gold to gold, but now they're on a potential diamond watch, at least for this last part of the year here. They'd have to be really good in the final week, but they have an opportunity. First off is Brandon Lowe. He's been excellent this year. Remember, he got off to a great start. He moved to gold. He moved higher within gold, and then he kind of faded. Well, he's back on track again, if I can find him. He's back on track again, and I've got him going up to an 83. Keep a close eye on him. If he has a great weekend, there's a chance that he gets diamond. He does have that player of the month diamond, by the way, that rakes. We also have Mr. Hit Parade, Tim Anderson. Dude's a monster. Now, I got to be honest. I've got him going to an 83. I don't really see diamond, barring a power surge, though. He's killing lefties, but how much more can they really move him up against lefties? I don't really know. I don't know that they can. So unless he clubs, a handful of homers, say 3-4 homers before next week's update, I don't know that we can get him much higher than the 83. That said, I'll take him at an 83, let the hype build up, and then I'll sell because I bought all of mine. Oh wait, I already sold mine. That's right. There was a whole big dust up in my Discord. Never mind. There's a whole big dust up in my Discord about him going diamond, and this guy thought I was like a stupid idiot for saying he couldn't go diamond, but his price was up in the 4,000s, and well, actually I think like 3,500 to 4,000 range, and I just sold all mine because I don't think he's going diamond. So I bought them all at 1,000, and I took my profit and ran. Now he's gone up a little bit, or he's held steady here, and he'll go up a little bit more if he goes to an 83 this week. I'm fine with it. I took 2,000 profit with all of mine, and I'm happy to do it. Next up is Jeff McNeil. You know, he had no power going for a while. Literally none. He had no homers. And then he hit 4 in a row, and he's really gotten back on track. Is he second base? Okay. He's really gotten back on track. I've got him going to an 83 here, and he has an opportunity to maybe push diamond if he continues to hit for pop and clubs another few homers over the course of the rest of this week and into next week. But it has to come via the power. I think the batting average, I wouldn't say it's capped. You know, he can move up a little bit more, especially if he had a bunch of hits against lefties. But I think to really move the needle beyond an 83, he'd have to hit for a bunch of homers. Next up, let's see here. Lost my sheet for a second. Ooh, Clev Dog, Mike Clevenger. He's settled in San Diego. Looks like he's starting to really fit in over there and do a great job with them. I mean, they're going to be so fun to watch in the playoffs, aren't they? Clev Dog, I got him going up 2 points to an 84. And then if he has a great finish, which I believe he'll start early next week. Let me see. He will start. Oh, actually, he'll start Saturday. Excuse me. He'll start Saturday at Seattle. If he crushes Seattle, I think we could see diamond. But I'm talking like double-digit strikeout type of outing. Like he needs to really go off. Because right now his Ks haven't really matched up to last year. He was at 12.1 last year. He's at 8.4 this year. But his other metrics have been solid. And lately he's really dialed down the hits and walks. Since joining the Padres, he has, let's see here. He has 1.5 hits, 1.5 hits. That'd be amazing. 1.5 walks per 9 and 7.0 hits. So I think there's some walk rate boost. That's what's going to do the trick here to get him up to an 84. And then if he decimates the Mariners, he could go diamond. Now, 2 new diamonds for you. First one, we're going to stick with this ball club right here. Now, the market's already there, so I'm not going to waste too much time on Dinelson Lamet. If you're not in already, you missed the boat. But I do have him going up to an 86. He's been awesome this year. Hats off to him because I did not think he was going to be anywhere near this good, and he has proven me wrong. He's been excellent. The other one, now this, I'm a little bummed, because if I had finished this video early this afternoon and you had invested going into tonight's game, you'd be loving me because he hit 2 homers and a double and his price is soaring. And now, all of a sudden, there's not enough room to really invest in Jose Ramirez, and I'm kind of pissed about it. Now, if you are a subscriber to the Twitch, he was on the list before this, so you were already in, hopefully, in the 2,700 to 3,000 range, which is what he's been sitting at until tonight. So hopefully you got in on that. Here's the thing. If he only goes to 84 this week, that would be great for us because then his price will tank and you can get in for next week. But I do think he's going to go diamond here. And thankfully, I've got 10 shares at a fair price. Like I said, it's under 3,000 for all but a couple of them. And I'm hoping to really cash out. And then 2 diamonds getting diamond upgrades. One of them going over 90, which may increase his price, but we don't know. Like, can't really play that game as much anymore. We've tried that the last couple times and it didn't quite work, but I will say that Freddie Freeman is definitely due for a substantial boost. I've got him actually going to a 92, and we'll see if that boosts him. If you want to buy a share or 2 down here in this price, worst case is you just sell him back if he doesn't spike, but I think there's at least a chance that he could spike into the 5-digit number, and maybe you're able to sell him for 14, 15 if he hits that spike. I don't know. Like I said, we tried it with Bieber and Soto and it didn't happen. Part of that was the pack sale. Part of it might have just been that people were keen to this idea though, and maybe that's why he didn't go. Maybe Freeman will. I'm actually going to end up buying. I'll do it right now. I'm probably gonna buy 2 shares. Nothing crazy. And if it doesn't go, I'll just sell them back, make a few bucks, and move on. And then my other one is the God. He's not quite going up over 80 yet, or up over 90. But Luke Voigt, I got him going up to an 87. And if he just continues, then I do think there's a small chance he could end the season up over 90. He's so freaking good. And he leads baseball with 19 homers at this point that I do have to wonder if maybe he could go all the way. He could go. Actually, the thing of it is, he'd have to change the batting average against lefties because he's only hitting 229 against them. So they can only upgrade the power so much. But I do think he's going to go up to 87, which is only a little 2-point boost. But I had to give him some love. There's not really an investment opportunity for that. I just had to give him some love. I love Luke Voigt. You guys know that. I won't shut the hell up about him. But that's my guy. Anyway, I hope this helped. Like I said, there's not a ton in the gold market, but there are some guys, Kevin Gausman, Tanner Rainey, that you can definitely get in on. Zach Davies is kind of on that cusp, depending on what you feel like. And then like Andrew Heaney, Gleyber Torres, Trent Grisham, Trevor Rosenthal, and Josh Bell for next week if they don't go gold this week. But get in on them now because their prices are nice. Otherwise, there's a lot of Team Affinity investments. And like I said, there's a ton more guys if you subscribe to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Spore. Get a subscription there. Get in the Discord. Get the whole list of 104 names. There's a lot more golds. I have a total of 15 golds, and I gave you guys 8 of them. So there's 7 more. I have 4 diamonds total, and I gave you 2 of them, so I gave you half of those. And there's plenty of other stuff. There's a few other guys who are on the cusp that I have going up to an 83 or an 84 that could go gold, that could go diamond next week. So take a look at that. On Friday, 2 p.m. Central, when the update comes out, I will be going live. We will do our big 12-hour stream Friday, twitch.tv/Spore. Thank you so much for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, and come out on Friday and see us. Peace.